congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's unbelievable that a few days back we were interacting as a candidate and now I'm interacting as an assistant professor. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Great. So here now you are going to be a national face of this country. You are going to inspire many people who are struggling to get such kind of prestigious job. So the main intention of this interaction is to inspire many people like you who are still struggling. So if they get a bit of inspiration from you, it is going to be a lot of help to the society.
Yes, sir.
So I would just ask you a few questions that will help other people to get their aim in the life. The first thing first of all, you introduce a little bit about yourself, your family background, your academic background, so that the people will be able to attach with you, they will be able to connect with you.
Okay. My name is Anindita Bose. I am from Durgapur, West Bengal. I have studied in DAV Model School, which is a CBSE school. I have completed my 12th from there. Then after that, I went for graduation in Calcutta University, Ashutosh College, and then after that, I cracked the entrance of BHU, Banaras Hindu University, and I completed my masters from there. And after while I was in my third semester of my masters, I cracked net, and after that I was trying for assistant professor examinations. My father is an employee of DSP Durgapur Steel Plant, and my mother is a homemaker, and I'm an only child, and so I like reading books, novels, and I like working out, and I'm very passionate about animal rights, and also I like watching films. I'm a very big cinephile, so this is
Okay,
me.
that's great. So what inspired you to go for this examination?
While I was staying in um, Banaras, I interacted with the culture. I had never been outside West Bengal before, so I did not think that I would be very comfortable with that. But I was very comfortable. The people were very welcoming there, so I did not have a problem moving outside my state to go for a job there. And then it was a very good opportunity because obviously I'm a fresher. I have not gone for PhD yet. I have just qualified net, so getting an opportunity like this where we get a post as an assistant professor, get to teach in a college at such a young age is a very big opportunity for me, which I did not think that I would get so early. So in my academic life, so that is why I went for this job.
Okay, that's great. So you are now in the top 25 candidates. So your journey is quite interesting from qualifying net and then preparing for UPHSC. So what is the journey of UPHSC written exam?
Sir, in UPHSC written exam, obviously we have a very defined syllabus that the UPHSC gives us for English. For British literature, we have certain works in fiction, and then we have prose. We have some works in poetry. It covers, I think, mostly all of the main authors. Like in fiction, we have the old authors, and then we have the new authors, and then in prose also it's the same like that. We have some variations like the most important things like we have Macaulay and all of those things. And after in poetry we have starting from Wordsworth, Coleridge, we have Auden, and then we have Dylan Thomas, and in British literature, and then we come to criticisms. Again, we cover all of those main parts. We cover Aristotle, Wordsworth, Coleridge, and then we go to F.R. Davis and all of the authors. And then also in Indian aesthetics, we have Ras, Dhwani, and all of those important topics. And it's a very varied syllabus. I think it covers, I guess, I think a wide range of authors, which as literature students we should know. So then again, in American literature also we have important writers. We have sorry, Walt Whitman, and then we have the poets like William Carlos Williams, and then we have playwrights like Eugene O'Neill, Tennessee Williams, all of them, Arthur Miller. Then also in Indian literature, also we have a very good collection of writers, and also the thing is that we have Gandhi and Vivekanand, who are very important thinkers of Indian thinkers. So we have their works as well. We have Chicago Lecture of or the Vivekanand, and then we have Aurobindo as well, which I think students are not very frequent did with in their graduation. So I think they also should read Aurobindo because he's an important thinker. We have Savitri, which is a very important work. And so then in we come to world literature also, we have a very varied and a very comprehensive collection of authors. Like in Canadian literature, we have important authors like Margaret Atwood. In Australian, we have Sally Morgan and all of them. And so then also Caribbean literature, we have the African literature, we have David Diop, we have Chinua Achebe, we have all of them. So I think it is a very comprehensive and a very good syllabus, and it is well defined. So I think if we go through all of the works very well and we go in depth of all of the works, I think in 2-3 months we could cover the syllabus, and it would be a very good result if students go through all of that. And coming to the GS part, which is the 30 marks of the 100 marks paper, that is not a very well defined syllabus in GS. We know that we cannot have a very well defined syllabus in GS. So it's a very open ended syllabus. So we have geography, we have history, that is after post 1875 to the modern history, we have to cover all of that part, and then some parts of ancient history as well, and then we have solar system and everything. I think that might be a bit difficult for students to cover, but if we get a good book like Manorama, or a yearbook, good yearbook, or if we go through some static portion, like in history, I followed Bipin Chandra for the some of the parts, and geography, we can get good videos over the internet to prepare for geography. And ICT also, we get very good notes online, information technology. Then we have research aptitudes. So NET students who have qualified NET, they have gone through research and teaching aptitude in their NET syllabus. So I think if they go through Arihant or the books of paper one, uh, they can take care of that portion well. And obviously, there is a little bit of current affairs as well. So if you take a note of the important things that is going through for 2-3 months, cover it. So that is the written exam part.
Okay, very nice. So how much challenging it was to get 67 questions correct out of 97?
Sir, I could not get you. Can you repeat it?
Yeah. As you got 67 questions correct out of 97, so how challenging it was to get such a good marks?
Sir, I think I could have done better. In my opinion, I could have gotten another 3-5 marks well, because I think one mistake that I would want to tell some of the candidates that I did in general GS paper mostly. So I would want them to read, if they can read in Hindi, I would want them to read both the English question and the Hindi question. I think it will give them a better idea of what the answer would be if they can guess in GS. So I can read Hindi. I am very proficient in Hindi, though my mother tongue is not Hindi. But still, the mistake that I did was I only read the English question. I think if I would have read the Hindi question, I could have got the terms better, and I could have gotten another 3-4 questions in GS. Answer in literature, there were some questions which were very in-depth questions. Like there was a poem, "Success is Counted Sweetest" by Emily Dickinson. So there, like they gave a very in-depth question of what are the things that represents success in the poem. That's the laurel and the olive crown. So that there I got a bit confused. And then another poem was "My Last Touches," which I think we have all read, and in graduation and post graduation we all read "My Last Duchess" by Browning. It's a very famous poem. But again, the question came that how many times was Frau Pandolf mentioned? So these are some of the questions which were very in-depth and very detailed, so which was a bit tricky. So I would want them to at least go through the poems and maybe take it's a little difficult to get through all of those details, but if you can remember it, I think it will be good. And then the areas I performed well was linguistics. I got most of the questions correct from linguistics. Again, most all of I think linguistics is not a very um, I think it's not a very strong area for a lot of students, I think. But if they could go through linguistics well, because there was one transcription given in the question paper, so a lot of people I know made a mistake on that, but I got it correct. So I would want them to go a little in depth in linguistics as well, and in the Indian aesthetics part as well, because those are the areas that you can get like very good marks, because there a lot of chance isn't there that the question would be very I mean tricky or something. So if you read it well, the parts, it will get a good marks in there. And then so obviously in theory also they don't give very difficult questions, like very basic terms they give, and which is important. Like we had questions of that how multinationalism relates to which part of modernism, that is postmodernism or something. I think that is a very common term that we know that um, they should know that. And then we had strategic essentialism by Spivak. So all of these things, which are very important and very frequent terms that we get in theory. So they ask questions from that, in my opinion. And so I think the main works also, like we had questions from Wasteland. So they should go through that as well, because obviously it is a groundbreaking work in literature. So they should go through all of the main works. We had questions from Things Fall Apart, which is again a very groundbreaking work. And I think we had questions from Tinton Abbey. I think that is it. I think we should go through all the important works very well, and also the linguistics portion, and the criticism portion, and the that Indian aesthetics portion should be done well, because if you do it well, then you can attend all of the questions from that area.
Okay, very great advice. Very great. It has come to notice that there are the candidates who scored 66 questions or 67 questions correct. They are also out from the final list. So, my question is that how sure were you when you came to know about your marks, written marks, about your selection?
So when I got my written marks, I thought it was good, but again, I did not know how much the highest marks is got gone. And some of my friends from there also told me that there aren't a lot of candidates. But they told me that just because we were from BHU, and there was a lot of chance that students from BHU were going to get selected, because we had because it is a premier institution, so we had a better chance, that we were better equipped for the positions there. So they told me that there aren't a lot of candidates who have gotten, but I was still skeptical about it, because as I said that I've just qualified net, and I've just completed my masters in September 2021. So it's just been a year and a half. So I was not sure, because obviously there were people who were a lot more experienced than me. They were teaching already, they were in the profession, and obviously they had qualified their masters in net, and after that they had gone for PhD. So that I did not know. But then when the result came out and I got a 13 rank in general, so then I thought that maybe I had a good chance. If I make it up in the interview, I had a very good chance of getting selected. But that also increased my responsibility to do better in the interview. So that I had to prepare very well in the interview, so I could get selected.
Okay, surely. So, as we have seen, that interview has played a very vital role in the selection. There are the candidates who are just rejected because of zero 0.3, zero 0.5 marks. So, can you share the entire journey detail of your interview preparation?
Yes, sir. Sir, of course, I mm, uh, did my interview preparation from you. and from your academy, which was, I think, a very big contribution in my chance of getting selected. Because as I said that this was my first time. Very frankly, I had not faced any interview before in my life. I'm just 24 years old. I have just qualified my master's in it. So I had no experience of how to go into an interview, how to present myself, how to hone my strong points, and how to, uh, work on the weak points of where I was. Uh, I found out about you through a YouTube video, and then I enrolled into your course. And of course, from the very first day, you were very sir, enthusiastic and was very on. So your guidance was very like point to the point from the very first day. Like when I was going through all of my interviews before my final interview, so in the very first interview, you told me that a mistake that I was doing was when I was thinking about some answers, I was looking upwards or downwards, which I should not do. I should look into the eyes of the interviewers, which was a very pivotal point that gives value to our how we present ourselves in the interview. So those little things, also how you so you prepared a complete questionnaire of all the questions you asked, and they were supposed to ask. So it covered all of the questions. So then I understood that where I was going, where I was lacking. So of course, I had not. I was already into my B.Ed, so I kind of was not that much into touch with literature. So obviously, we know that it's human memory, so we tend to forget things a little. So then it all started came back coming back to me, sir. All of the questions that you prepared and the model questions that you gave us over the mail, and all the grammar part that you told us, because we had to revise all of that again, and it obviously played a very important pivotal part. And sir, obviously, you then told us to prepare something on our favorite poems, on our favorite novels, and then so that was also very important, because obviously in the interview they asked me to recite some lines from my favorite poem. So I think at last when I recited that, I recited some lines from Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. So they really appreciated that. So they were like very appreciative of it. So I think that also played, because obviously when you are tense, obviously when you're going into an interview, you're tense, and suddenly if they ask you recite some lines from your favorite poem, sometimes it happens that nothing comes up from the top of your head, and you're just left there standing speechless. Those things that they asked you. Again, another commission member, a ma'am was there. She asked me after I gave my demo class that if you would go into a class and teach language for the first time, English language and grammar, what would you start by? So that was also a very important question that I answered. That I would start by parts of speech, and then I explained how I would explain the parts of speech and the examples. And then she asked what next, and I said obviously the types of sentences I would go into. That is the logical step after parts of speech to teach a student. So all of these things were very useful and very important advices that you gave throughout. But again, I had some parts of criticism and theory I had not brushed up. So obviously you kept on telling me and kept on encouraging me. So in the middle, there were some interviews that were not up to the mark. I was not that prepared. So then you gave so much emphasis on it and positive encouragement that I had a good chance of getting selected. So I made it a point to work hard, so the next interviews won't be disappointing, because obviously you also were investing so much time on it. So that was very very good.
Really. So first of all, thank you so much, Anindita, for your best compliments. And every time
No, sir,
you proved your words, because whenever I was suggesting something, your only statement that, sir, next mock interview I'll not disappoint you. Okay, so this remark was really phenomenal, and you proved every time.
sir, it is. I think like most of the credit for the interview, it is of course going to you. It is because I would not have been able to do so well if it wouldn't have been for you, because um, I did not know anything about it. Like it was my first interview, so it was all how you prepared us for the interviews. All of those 6 interviews were like really great, and its contribution is very good in my getting
So,
selected.
how many questions from the mock interview were repeated same to same, or and how many surprises were there?
Sir, obviously, the mock interviews you conducted were very extensive. Like you were very rigorous with it. Like you asked all of those questions and everything. And obviously, they would not, obviously the time is restricted there, so they would not go through all of it. But we have to be prepared because you never know what is going to come up. So obviously, they asked me about the demo class that I prepared. So I went there and gave the demo class, and after that they asked me about Syed and Orientalism, so that we had gone through a lot of times in the interview. So you had asked me about Orientalism, and then because I was teaching on post-colonialism, so you asked me a range of questions from that topic. So like you asked me the difference between colonialism, imperialism, and from Spivak, and we went through Bhava, mimicry, hybridity, all of that. So I was completely prepared for it. But they only asked me about Orientalism and side. And then, so obviously, the grammar part was from the interview. Obviously, I would not know to prepare grammar if it wasn't for the mock interview. So I did that. So then another uh, commission member asked me about asked me about my favorite poet or a poet I like from Victorian age and from Romantic age. So I answered them about Keats and Tennyson. So they asked me about Keats's negative capability, which again you had asked us to prepare, and then about how why Keats is called a Greek by Shelley. So that was also a common question, I think. And so then Tennyson also, we had how Tennyson was a feminist based on Princess, the medley. So these are all common questions which I got. And so I think that was it. And they asked me about Shashi Tharoor and a speech that they gave, which was not out of what, but I had seen it in YouTube video how he had given that speech about how Britishers looted India. So I told them about that. And after that, they asked me to recite a poem, which was also, again, you told us that prepare some lines from your favorite poems. So most of it, it was not that I had got a lot of bouncers that I could not face. It was all preparation well done.
Definitely, definitely. Actually, what I remember is we had a brain churning session for hours together, and it
Yes,
really
sir.
helped a lot to prepare you. So it was
Yes,
really
sir.
very
Yes,
nice
sir. Of
session.
course. So all of the time that I had to face a mock interview for you, I had obviously gone through a lot of interview. So it obviously helped me to retain all of that information.
That's okay. So Anandita, when you received the result yesterday, what was your first reaction, and to whom you shared your first happiness?
Yes, sir. Sir, obviously, I just came back yesterday from Prayagraj, so I had just gotten back. So I was in my room and I saw the result, and obviously the first person I told were my parents and my grandmother. So they were very happy about it. And sir, one of my classmates also got selected. We were together in masters. So two, three of my classmates from BHU, I called them up and I told them. So they were also very happy. So my parents, mostly my father, was very happy because obviously he has been a constant support. He went with me to the interview and he was there, so he was very happy with it, with the result. He was telling me that you're just 24. What are you going to teach of 18, 19, 20-year students?
It's really, really amazing moment, very thrilling moment. This turning point of your
Yes,
life. It's really amazing.
yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, so if you are going to suggest a few things about the written and the interview to upcoming advertisement to the candidates, what will be those points?
So first, obviously, I would tell them to go through the syllabus of the written exam very well because it is an extensive syllabus. We have a lot of works to cover. But if you go through all of the works really well and you make some small notes, because most people know the British part, But in the American portion and the world literature portion, there are a lot of things that we might not know. That is, there's a poem like Indian Reservation, Kaunavaga, and some of these poems which are not very common, which we usually do not get in our master's syllabus or in our graduation syllabus. In like our university BHU, we did not get some of these poems. Then there's My Place by Sally Morgan. Even though I had new literatures, I did not get these. And some of these poems, I think it would be better that they make some notes out of it, some extensive notes like when it was published and some the themes mainly, the what are the main themes and some important words that they think that might come to the question. I would tell them to do that. And British, I would tell them that just because it's a very big syllabus, they cannot make notes out of all that. So I would tell them to get a comprehensive book, like any book that they would do for net. I would tell them to get it. And sir, I think there are one or two books which covers the UPPGT syllabus. So if it overlaps, I think they give very pointed and to the point note answers to that. So they might do that. And if they do not are not very good with some works of British, that they do not know or have not gone through them well, I would tell them to prepare notes for it. I think that's the best way. They should prepare some detailed notes for it. And so in GS, I would tell them to go for comprehensive notes that is available online and YouTube videos. So that is the thing. And again, for linguistics portion, I would tell them to do it very well, and I would tell them to go for Bala Subramaniam and for that the another that is linguistics. We have that book. I cannot remember that name. Uh, Jindal and Sayal. I think Jindal and Sayal and Balasubramaniam is good for linguistics, and Indian aesthetics also. There are some good online PDFs available, so they should go through that. For in English as second language also, they should go for that. So criticism again, theory, I would tell them to if Habib is a bit extensive, so I would tell them to go for one book that I follow for theory is P.K. Nair's Introduction to Literary Theory. That is a very good book, so I would tell them to go through that. And again, so criticism also, we have some such compilations for criticism that we have. They could go through that. I think that. And sir, I would tell them the most. I would like very the one advice that I would like to give them is that they should prepare notes for the world literature part and the Indian and American part. They should do it themselves and write all the important notes and go through it again and again. It'll just take a month to do that. I don't think it'll take a lot of time because that portion is not that extensive. So that's it.
Okay, that's great. Very nice suggestions, Anindita. Any specific suggestions for interview preparation?
Uh,
Am I audible, Anindita?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think there's some network disturbance going on. Okay, so would you like
Sir,
to give any
it
specific
is going
suggestions
and
for
coming.
preparation of
Yes.
interview?
Sir, for interview preparation, I would tell them to do as you say. I think that is enough. The way you guided us, it was enough. I think, sir, a lot of candidates also got selected. So I think that's enough. You know better that where they're lacking and where they're strong. I think you would guide them really well. So I would tell them to follow that. So I would
That's
also
great.
tell them to, if they, yes, sir, if they know some of their strong points, I would tell them to do that because one strong point that I knew about myself was that, sir, I speak well. I mean, my communication skills are good. So I would tell them that if there is a problem in that, I would tell them to work on that. And even if they have a strong point, I would tell them to highlight that in the interview because obviously it is individual. They have judging it, so I would tell them to do that. And the all the sir theory and all of that part about literature, everything that you covered is enough. It's more than enough, I would say. So that will be fine.
Okay, that's a very great suggestion, Anindita. The last thing that I would like to ask you is who are the people to whom you are going to acknowledge for this success?
Sir, obviously, like I said, my parents and sir, there, if mm, any success in life, I would say I would go back to some of my teachers in school. There are two, three teachers without whom I would not have done it. So
Surely,
the love for
I would like to ask the names also so that we must acknowledge their by names.
Sir, there was an English teacher who taught me in class 6 and 7. Her name was Rajni ma'am. So she inculcated basically my love for the subject. And then after that, in 11, 12, I read from a ma'am called Roma ma'am. So them, and there was my geography teacher in high school, which was Polomi ma'am, and my economics teacher. So all of them were very supportive and very encouraging. My parents, and sir, lastly, you definitely. So you all, without you, it wouldn't have been possible to get selected. And
I
so
wish
some of
that
my friends,
all these people see this video and they should feel proud upon your success. Okay, that's great, Anandita. It was a very nice interaction with you. And I wish you will be able to inspire thousands and thousands of people, students, and you will change their life.
sir, I also think I would like to do that. Like it will be the best thing that I could do.
Definitely. You are going to be in such a profession where you can change the nation.
Yes, sir. So like my teachers supported me and guided me, I think I would be very glad if I could do that to my students and at least make their love for the subject grow. So that is the aim.
I wish I should soon meet you as an assistant professor.
Yes, sir, I do too.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.